Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Momentum Chat. I am your host, Majida Bay, your financial conductor, helping parents and professionals to stay on the right track to financial success. And tonight, it is our last chat of 2020. So if you're watching this, hey, like, share it, tell a friend. We're going to be having a great conversation tonight. I know with a lot of people setting goals right now and planning for what they want their 2021 to look like, we wanted to have a conversation about some of our goals and some of the things that we're planning for 2021 and how we're going to stay on track. So if you want to be part of the conversation, stay tuned and we'll be starting shortly. Good evening and welcome to Momentum Chat. I'm your host, Majida Bay, and joined with me, as always, is a mentor, a colleague, a friend, a gentleman that I have the utmost respect for, Mr. John Epting, financial professional and broker out of the Virginia Beach area with over 19 years of experience. How are you doing today, John?
Doing pretty good. It's been an interesting day.
Interesting day. How was your holiday?
Actually, that was really good. It was very relaxing. We took on some new traditions. Instead of my wife cooking on Christmas Eve, we did some different stuff. I think we're gonna keep going with that.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, we had fun. My niece was in town, so she hung out with us. She's getting ready to deploy with the military, but it was good to have her with us for Christmas. But yeah, it was fun, and I'm looking forward to the new year and looking forward to helping a lot more people next year.
Absolutely. So looking forward to 2021 as well. 2020 was good, but you know, we could always get better. So looking forward to 2021 as well. So I want to have a conversation tonight, and I want to share with our audience, for those that are listening, I want to share with them some of our goals, right, to get the conversation started. I know we've been giving out a lot of advice and sharing a lot of content over the last few months. And so I want them to kind of get some insight into how we set our goals, either financially or personally, as well as some of the things that we do to make sure that we can stay on track. So first question I have for you, John, is what are some of your goals for 2021? And for anyone that's listening, if you want to comment, let us know what they are. But yeah, John, what are some of your goals for 2021?
Wow, it's quite a few. I mentioned a couple of them last week when we were on here, but I have a new fitness goal. So I do want to drop another 30 pounds, put on another 5 pounds of muscle, and possibly do a figure show, a physique show. I'll be 50 next year, so I think that's a pretty good goal to do that, as well as if time permits, maybe even do a triathlon. I've done marathons, but I've wanted to do a triathlon, but just never did it. Blew my knee a few years ago as I was training for one, and then never, even after the knee healed, I never went back to training for it and setting a date, whether it be the Sandman or the Ironman or any of those types of triathlons. So that's a couple of fitness goals, I guess you will, if the Lord wills, I get there. And then we have some financial goals, some giving goals, savings goals. So how much we want to give away, how much we want to save. But then there's some big ones for our family in reference to a possible move and the timeline of that. And then taking on a little bit more responsibility in areas of my life, specifically in business. Believe it or not, adding more to my plate, if you will. Which is okay. I don't believe God will give me a call that He didn't equip me to do. So I feel a very big urging. Had a conversation with a gentleman today that kind of gave me some confirmation, and it was really confirmation about me stepping out on faith instead of just making sure all the, looking at all the spreadsheets and making sure everything's. I mean, of course, you're supposed to count the cost whenever you go build something. Scriptures talks about that, but there is a point where God just wants you to just trust Him. If He called you to do it, go do it, and just walk it out. And the person I was sitting with, he was literally telling me a story from back in 1995 for 3 years, how the Lord just sustained him. And to this day, he didn't know how it was done. So it encouraged me a great deal. So that's a few of the goals. I mean, I didn't give you specific numbers, but I guess I could if you needed it.
No, that's good. That's good for right now.
What about you?
So similarly, similarly, I do have some savings goals. Actually, I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of nights ago, and one of the things I shared with him was a lot of times we're focusing on what we don't want or what we the debt and right. But I wanted to shift, and I think I heard this from a conversation from one of the co-founders of our company, and he talked about having like a savings goal. And so I figured if I have a savings goal of a certain amount, then it would require me to earn a certain income. And, along with that savings goal, having a giving goal alongside that. So I do have a savings goal, and it's over the next couple years, but I want to save $100,000 in cash. Like that's my savings goal over the next 2 years. So the how doesn't really matter to me right now, but the why is the person I have to become in order to reach that goal. Definitely have to be a lot more disciplined in my spending and in my saving. Like I save consistently and automatically. However, to reach that goal, it's going to require a different level. So just being more intentional. I think sometimes you can get comfortable, and I know for myself, I like things like staying the way that they are, right? Like you get to a certain, right? Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'm doing good, but challenging myself to raise it up a notch and do even better. So yeah, that's one of my goals is, and focusing on like making that the main focus, and then like kind of everything else that I want to do will fall under that. Like if I'm saving what I want to save, then I'll be able to travel, and like I want to travel. If I'm saving what I want to save, then I'll be able to give what I want to give.
As one of your financial coaches, I actually believe you could hit that goal this coming year. You're talking about 6 figures liquid. So we're not even talking about, we're talking about outside all the accounts you have with us and all of that, right? 100,000. I believe you can hit that this year. And I know your current income. I know how you spend your life. I think you can do it this year. But of course, if you don't mind, let me say this. When you set a goal, it should be a little bit outside of you. And I love you. You know how much I love you. I love those little girls of yours and your family. But 100,000 in the next 2 isn't outside of you. You could do that.
I've never done it though. I've never done it.
I know you've never done it, but you can do it, and not even really with that much effort in 2 years, because I know you, right? Every goal, every dream, every goal should be a little bit past you. Should be a little bit. For one, it would take faith. But 2, it makes you come out of your comfort zone. I don't want anything I can do. I don't need faith for that. Right? You might remember we had a talk, and the young gentleman that was on the thing with us, he said that he made up in his mind that he was going to go after things so big that when he was done, only God could take credit.
Right.
I'm challenging you to do the same. 100,000. I think you can do it this coming year.
Okay.
You don't have to, But hey,
no, I'm gonna track it. I have a whole like goal thermometer that I created that I'm gonna like track it. So Yeah.
What if
Maybe I'll have it in the background when we're doing these chats and everybody can see where I am.
okay. Ooh.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with accountability. Hey, it's all good.
You know, I have a
It'll
young
prove.
woman who I don't like to say mentor. I work with him in his business. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember one particular time we were talking about his business and the number of clients he wanted for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And his business is somewhat seasonal, but I was working with him. So he gave me a number. And I was like, now, mind you, I'm not in that business. I don't know nothing about that business. Actually, I pay him to come and do that for me. Right. So, but I remember us sitting down over some fish tacos and me just telling him, how about this be the goal? I was stretching him. I was taking him outside of himself a little bit. Right. And the reason people do that is because we don't like failure. We've in our culture, we put way too much emphasis on failure. When it's part of if you're a baseball player and you have a 300 batting average, that means you miss 7 times up to bat. That means you strike out 7 times out of 10. And you're the superstar. They pay you stupid money. If you miss 50% of your shots, you're LeBron James. You're a superstar in the NBA. Yet out here in the normal world, we act like if we have a failure, it's the end of the world. When these guys are failing every day. When Jordan was the number one scorer in the league, he also missed the most shots in the league. So, tell you that story because I know you. Plus, I know you. Plus, I know
Be
how much
okay.
you've grown in 2020. So 2021 better watch it. So.
Yeah, we have to take the brakes off.
Yes.
Yeah, I like to pace myself. I like
I
steady
know
progress.
you like being
Yeah.
conservative with it. I'm conservative. You know I'm a conservative guy. Let's go for it though. Let's go.
Okay. All right.
100,000 liquid sitting in your checking account. I like that.
I don't know about my check-in. See, because
Whatever.
because of what I know about interest and what you can earn, right? I might have 10 in check-in, but the other 90 gonna have to be somewhere where it's earning a little bit more than 0.05%. Like I can't. I just and it's still accessible enough. So if I gotta reach into it and buy some rental property or something, I can do that. But yeah, I can't.
I want you to think about this though. Let's think about some wealthy people or rich people. All right. Yeah, I'll say he's rich. I know someone who has $1 million sitting in a money market account, earning nothing. Now, of course, he got other accounts all over the place and blah blah blah, but $1 million sitting in a money market account, earning nothing. Just a different mindset, huh?
Yeah. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet, right?
Right.
I want my money earning as much as it can for me.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
And yeah, so
me too.
And it's still liquid, right? Like it's still my liquid. So, if it takes me a week to get the check, I'm okay with that. It don't have to be, direct that day. But yeah, I can wait a week for the money.
But wouldn't it be cool to have a goal like that? Wouldn't it be cool to have a 6-figure goal for 2021? Now here's the deal: if you miss it, but you aim for 100,000, but you land at 93. That ain't so bad.
That's not too bad at all.
No, not at all. But see, if you had aimed at 50, it'd have been disgusting if you hit 61.
Yeah.
Actually, it'd be disgusting if you aimed at 50 and you hit 92. That's disgusting to me. Because that means you should have aimed for 150.
So, okay, you make a great point there. So, in setting goals, right? I hear what you're saying. It should stretch you. It should be a little beyond, they should be beyond what you can do yourself, right? Like they require faith. And so, what are some things that you should do to keep you on track? Like, what are your methods for something that I know we both heard, right? You inspect what you expect.
Right.
Performance measured is performance improved. And so what are some things that you do to help you stay on track with the goals that you set?
Yeah, you have to measure. You have to measure where you are. Each goal is different when you should measure. So some goals, your goal, that I will be checking on that monthly. You see what I'm saying? If it's my fitness goal, for example, I want to, and believe it or not, I don't want to do that in 2021. I want to do that before the first 5 months are up, that I drop another 30 pounds, put on 5 pounds of muscle. Well, I got to pay attention to that. So what, I'm getting on a scale once a week, right? And every few weeks I'm having better body fat measurements done, just to stay on top of that. Also, shifting my diet a little bit. It's not really a diet; it's a lifestyle. But shifting it, shifting how often I drink coffee, because unfortunately I don't drink it black, right? So I'm drinking flavored creamers, and so I got to pay attention to that instead of every day. Now it might be once a week on Sundays on our way to church or something like that, just to hit the goal. But I'm constantly measuring it. Does that make sense? There's been times when I was last year, so I dropped 35 pounds. Last year, I was getting on the scale every day, every morning. Now, some people, they shouldn't do that because it'll frustrate them. It didn't frustrate me. Some people, because you might get on the scale 3 days in a row and the number didn't change. Matter of fact, it might have went up. Right? If you don't have the right psyche, that will screw you up, and you might just quit. Right? I don't have that problem, so I could get on the scale every day, right? And sometimes I got on the scale twice a day. I would get on in the morning while I'm still in a fasted state, and then I would get on in the afternoon right before bed, just to see the difference in the numbers. That's it, and then I get a true number in my head. So that's fitness. Financially, right? First of all, a financial one should be short, small increment, right? Right. So if you want to hit whatever your number is, right? Whatever your savings or giving or whatever it is, right? Do something to it weekly, right? Or some people could do it daily. I that's how I talk to the families I serve a lot, is talk to them about, hey, could you save $5 a day or $10 a day? When they hear it that way, then it's like, oh, that's not so bad. Yeah, $5 a day is nothing. You waste 30, right? So you could easily save 5. Oh yeah, I can. And sure enough, yeah, people who told me they could never do what they're doing right now. Oh my God, I could never do that, John. When I broke it down daily, or especially people who are in commission type businesses, or a barber, a hairdresser, a massage therapist, stuff like that, I would tell them, hey, once a day, first head of every day, save that, right? So if it's a barber, right, if that first head is $25 or $80, you have to save it, right? Same thing with a hairdresser, same thing with right, first head should go to you, but I'm talking about you long term, putting it away, put it somewhere so one day you don't have to keep doing that. But you measure that stuff. Those types of things you can measure daily, weekly, or bi-weekly, not monthly. I don't think that's enough, right? But because most people get paid at least every 2 weeks. Okay, you should be putting towards it. Some people, oh, I pay all my bills on this paycheck, and no. That's not a consistent thing. Right? You get paid every 2 weeks. Be putting something away every 2 weeks, giving something away every 2 weeks. If you have a giving goal, I think you should have a giving goal, and you should be thriving to overshoot it. Yeah. So those are the type of things I do to stay on track. And then of course, if you're one of the technical people, you can have spreadsheets and all that type of stuff for it too. But that's one way, right? And then also accountability. You got to have somebody you're accountable to.
Yeah. That was my next question. Who holds you accountable? Just from our conversation here, a lot of times we set goals to ourselves, but by declaring them publicly, by sharing it with somebody, and having them hold you accountable, it's really the key, right? Like I shared it with a friend of mine a couple of days ago, and now that he knows that, right, like I'm like, all right, I need to check in with him and let him know where I am.
Yeah.
with respect to that goal. And so, can you share why is it important to have someone hold you accountable? And then who holds you accountable?
Well, it depends on what the goal is, right? So, I have one guy in my life that I notice he wants to know. He's an all around mentor in my life, even though he's a pastor, a bishop of a pretty big church, but he doesn't just ask me about my spiritual goals. He asked me about. He called me. Was that last week? He called me last week. He said, "Hey man, I know you're probably looking at your goals and everything. Where we at? On on setting them for the year." And and him and I talked about how neither one of us were done yet, in setting them and mapping it all out and everything. But it was really cool and we've known each other for a long time. Probably 2004. But that's one person who any of everything that I just talked about, I could go with all those goes to him. And the cool thing about him is I don't have to remind to reach out to him about those goals. Like once I tell him, it's almost like if we're on the phone and I'm telling him, he must be taking notes because 3 weeks later I'll get a call and he's like, "Hey, where you at on this one? Where you at on this one? Where you at on this one?" And that's somebody who actually, and you got to be careful who you share your goals with. Everybody's not happy for you. I remember when I hit some milestones in my business, in my company, and there were certain accolades that they would, give you, and I didn't want to wear those things or you know, and I remember him telling me, he said, "John, you didn't complain and whine when the harvest was bare." He said, "So don't apologize now that it's plentiful." And I never, and you know, that, and coming from a pastor, a bishop, everybody that helped me. He said, "I don't have to worry about you. You're not gonna allow it to get to your head. You're not gonna allow it to go too far with it." And it coming from him, that was top 10 best compliments I've ever gotten in my life, coming from him, especially.
Yeah.
Right. So be careful who you share your goals with. Make sure whoever you're sharing your goals with, who's holding you accountable, they have some. So make it like a buddy system. So and then I have an interesting wife. I have an interesting daughter. So when it comes to, we have these core values, and we've talked about those on here before. And one of them is excellence, right? And our daughter is, we just awarded her school sent some accolades to the house, COVID, so she can't. And she was awarded some stuff, right? And it just showed us that even though what we're preaching, she's practicing, And mind you, this is from school, straight A, and she hates school, but she believes in our core values. So she walks them out anyway, and don't get me wrong, there's some incentive too. We put some rewards and things like that in place, so she gets a certain dollar amount for every A. No, if she gets straight A, she gets a certain dollar amount. It's not, because if she had a B in there, the numbers aren't the same. But we make it rewarding. But yeah, this is a kid who hates school. Like she's only a sophomore, and she's planning on taking a gap year from high school before she even goes to college, if she goes at all. And she's planning on doing some pretty cool stuff in that gap year. And I can't believe I'm actually even on board with it. But that's my baby girl, and if that's what she wants to do, we'll make it happen. Won't tell you guys what she's planning to do, but it's really freaking cool. Like, dang, I wish I did something like that. Actually, I
We'll
wish I had the
invite her
courage to
on
do
and she
that.
can share.
Right?
Yeah, we'll invite her on and she can share.
Yeah, yeah. One day we'll
No.
get her on, and she'll share. But yeah, she thinks she wants to be a forensic psychologist, but she's really, really thinking about a gap year before she start to dive into all of the schooling to be a forensic psychologist. So
Nice.
yeah, but those are goals we do. I have an interesting wife and daughter. They hold me accountable. And some people, their spouse can't hold them accountable, but actually it depends on what it is. Like my wife won't hold me accountable when it comes to my fitness or my eating habits. She'll hold me accountable to my fitness, to me getting in the gym. But as far as my eating, she won't, because she doesn't try to hold me to a standard she don't hold herself to.
Right.
So she'll tell you straight up. You know, I've actually asked her. I was like, babe, if you see me do this, she's like, nope, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, what the heck? Why not?
Yeah,
Because I'm
yeah.
not doing that. She's like,
Moral
because I'm not
authority
doing that.
thing.
I was like, oh,
Right.
well, good point.
No, I think that's important. I think that's huge because I've come across, individuals in life, and that's probably like one thing that I can't accept a person holding you to a standard they don't hold themselves to, right? Like they don't have the moral authority, right? Like it just doesn't rest well. And not that what they're sharing may not be right. But at the same time, like you don't hear it the same way. Like I know for myself, I don't listen well when what I see is different from what you're telling me,
Yeah. And
so I think that's important.
I'm with you in that sense, but I will challenge you and I that we need to be a little bit more mature in that sense, that we can take a message no matter who's giving the message. If the message is right, it's just right, even if it comes from a moron, right? But that takes maturity on our part. I know it's another level.
Yeah.
Neither one of us are there. I'm not there either.
What Steve Harvey said, God ain't through with me yet. I ain't there yet.
Yeah.
I like for my associations, and not just, like I can associate with all different types of people, but if it's a person that's going to be giving me advice or counsel, right, whatever, I need to see an example, right? Like I need to see what it looks like. If you're going to advise me on what it is that you're doing or what I should be doing, you got to show me. Yeah. Otherwise, I can't believe that you know what you're talking about, right? Because you would exemplify it,
That's a good point.
So, but I'll work on that. I'll make that a goal to work on being more mature. I'll ask for inspiration. I've changed. That's gonna be my word for 2021. Inspiration.
Cool.
I found that like and we probably all often do, like we seek inspiration outside of ourselves, like from other people or from other places. And I want to be in a position to where when I'm associating with other people, like I'm not just taking from, but I'm being able to give to that conversation. So or add value versus just receiving it, right? Where the places that I go for inspiration, I want to be able to bring inspiration to it as well, not just be receiving the inspiration. So I want to be able to, daily. This is what I shared this morning on the accountability call that I'm a part of. I want to be able to take time in the morning to listen to something inspirational, right? Come to the call with a different energy than like looking for them to be the fuel for me to get up in the morning, right? Because it's 6 a.m. and I'm like, all right, 5:45, let me log in, make sure I'm there early. But sometimes my camera's off, right? I'm still in my pajamas.
Yeah.
I might have one of the girls in my arms, just barely waking up. And I'm like, nah, I could do better. So I want to get up and maybe an hour before, take that time, pour into me so that I can then pour into and bring, because the people who are running the call, like they come ready to serve, ready to give. And I want to be able to provide that same change, not just in that arena, but in other arenas. Like, and I think just for myself, like I have a difficulty finding inspiration to like move. I'm just kind of on autopilot. Like, this is what I need to be doing. This is what I should be doing.
Right.
But I don't feel like my activity is always inspired. It's just kind of like routine. So I want just I guess mentally, I want that to be a shift for myself, is to have more inspired activity. When I wake up in the morning, I'm excited about what I get to do, not looking at it as a chore of having to do it.
You're right,
So
right. And that's a mindset shift first, but then after a while you just walk into it. And we talk about that in our church. Don't show up here looking for us to prime your pump. You should already come here fired up. Stuff like that. And
yeah.
oh yeah, I thought of someone else who holds me accountable. You, any of the people I lead, any of the people who I get to coach, any of the, think about it. If you're coaching, you got to be moving yourself. And I've said for years, in the people I mentor, right, that a lot of times I get more out of the relationship than they do because I had to grow just to lead them. I had to make sure that something was in this guy when they came to me, whether it had been about their marriage or their money or their relationship. One of the young men's not married, has never been married, but I still had to be ready whenever he had questions or just wanted to vent or whatever the case may be. So I see that as a form of accountability too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Even the clients we serve, like there's a different level of accountability with them
Yeah.
because there's a trust factor there, right? There's a trust, there's a level of confidence that they have in us as professionals, to be able to advise them, guide them, give them more direction. So like I think I was sharing maybe a couple calls ago. They're like, when my clients call, like I pick up the phone, right? Like it's automatic, right? I don't make them wait unless I just can't answer, but I make sure that I return their call. And one of my clients actually I think it was on Sunday. She said I had sent her the book How Money Works. And so she's been, delving into it. She was like, well, based on this, I should be saving $731 a month, right? And we just started a plan for her, and it's about maybe half that amount. And I'm like, listen, we started you where you were comfortable, right? But now you know for yourself what you can grow to be able to reach a certain goal. So when you're ready, we can make the adjustment. But I didn't want to get you started at $731 and then 6 months later, oh, I can't keep it. I don't, I can't maintain it. So it's progress. But now you know for yourself, right? But we planted the seed, we got you started, we got you moving. And so now moving forward, you now know where the direction to go to,
That is
to
so
move
awesome.
into.
You met her where
So yeah, that was pretty exciting.
that's what I pride ourselves in reference to our firm is we meet people where they are. Just because of of course I could say, hey, because you make 150,000, you should be saving this. That doesn't necessarily mean they can do that because they just met me and they've been living life a certain way before they met me. Right?
Absolutely.
But we get to meet them where they are. They make 30,000 a year. We meet them where they are. They make 380 a year. We meet them where they are. They make 2.7 a year. We meet them where they are, and challenge them to grow. Yeah.
Right.
That's what I've
And
always
that's
done. This is where we're starting, but this is where we're going. I cast vision to the clients too. Hey, this is where we're going.
And that's one of the goals that I have as well, is to like make sure that I'm more intentional about reaching out and connecting more with my clients on a consistent basis, right? Because for me, I'm like, all right, I want to make sure that the plan I set you up on is going to deliver, right? But that does require work on your part, right? On the client's part, it requires some effort on their end to be able to reach that goal, right? I can lay out the vision, I can set the plan in place, but they've got to work the plan. And so I want to make sure that I'm holding them accountable. I'm keeping them on track, with their permission, as you always say, right? With your permission, right? I want to make sure that you reach your financial goals.
You need
And
their
it's
permission.
possible that accountability.
You need their permission. You need their buy-in. And it's very simple. All we are is coaches, right? A lot of people give me a lot of accolades, but the facts are that I'm just a coach. They got to play the game. I just know the plays to play. That's I just know the plays, and with us together, if we work together, and then I can see things on the court that they can't see yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's why you need a coach. Sometimes the coach sees the game differently than the players.
True.
Yeah.
No, I like that. And I think along with that, in setting goals for 2021, we talked a little bit about this last week, but I guess I want to kind of bring it back up, the idea of like where to start. Like, where do you start? And we can kind of focus specifically on financial goals. I know there's a lot of places that you can put your money in. I know there's a lot of things that you can invest in. But just from the way that we've been coached ourselves and, kind of trained within our organization, having a strong foundation, limiting debt, building your emergency fund, investing is kind of the icing on the cake. Can you speak to that a little bit about where you start in terms of planning your financial goals, putting the right things in place first and building on that so that your financial house is solid, right? It's strong long term.
Yeah. You've heard of this thing. I think it's called Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong. Well, safeguard yourself from that. You've heard me say numerous times that wealthy people, rich people anticipate, right? And poor middle class people react. And what I mean by that is when it comes to the foundation of a good financial plan, it's protecting what can go wrong. For example, this is going to sound so counterproductive to a lot of people, right? But do you have the right amounts of life insurance? Do you have the right amounts of disability insurance, your homeowner's insurance, your car insurance? Do you have a warranty for some of those? Do you have a home warranty? You own a home. Do you have a home warranty? Right? Because I could tell you, hey, let's start with an emergency fund and put $2,000 away. But if you don't have the right insurances and stuff like that, something's gonna go wrong, and now you got to dip into that emergency fund, right? Or the savings, or the Roth IRA I set up for you, or the whatever it is, right? So if you don't have those things in place, what insurance is a transference of risk, and it's protecting what you're trying to build. That's what it's doing, right? So I know it sounds weird to people, but that's the facts, right? Can you imagine if you didn't have the right types of insurance and things in place, right? Warranties, all those types of things, and then the hot water heater goes out in your house. The air conditioning unit goes out, or your car needs tires, right? I think I talked about that last week, how expensive the tires are on my car.
Yeah.
And so you're talking $250 a piece, right? For 4 tires, that just ate up. If you had a baby emergency fund of $1,000, it just ate up your emergency fund.
Done.
Right. But if you had warranties for those types of things, or whatever the case may be, then it's not that big of a deal. So having that in place first, and then getting some cash. That's why I talk about an emergency fund. Some liquid. You need some liquid cash, because if you don't, let's act like one of those things happen and you don't have cash. Well, guess what? You're gonna be putting it on a credit card.
Yep.
Right? And depending on your credit history, you might be paying 12 to 19 to 28% interest on the credit card.
So it didn't just cost you $1,000, right?
Yeah, you're walking backwards, right? So those are very key things in where to start. But start small. Don't hurt yourself, right? Hey, I think wait a minute. I heard, I don't watch the news much, but I heard there's another stimulus check coming. Right. Well, most of the people who are listening to me, a good portion of people are going to qualify, but some people aren't. Right. But those of you who qualify, boom, there's part of your emergency fund right there. Yep. That was money you weren't even expecting. Save it.
Yeah.
It's just how I think, right? I don't know what the check going to be, $600 or whatever it is, but hey, save it. Boom.
That's 600 extra bucks I can put into each of my daughter's plans.
See?
Stuff some extra money there.
Yeah, but you're at a different place, because you asked the question, where do you start? You're not starting.
Right. I know.
So my advice to you would be different, right? But
Well,
go
right.
ahead.
Well, I asked that question because I liked it, right? Because I ask most of the questions normally on here because I like to put myself in people's shoes, right? Like I was in those shoes at one point, and I'm not going to start where a Warren Buffett is. Does that make sense? Sometimes
Very
people
true.
want to jump into doing what he's doing or jump into this stuff that they are not educated about.
Very true.
When to build a solid financial foundation, right? Like we talk about like a wealth formula. There's a wealth formula. Like if you follow these steps, you can become wealthy. And we try to skip steps like protection, having your foundation in place.
Those are big
And
ones. Yeah.
yeah, and so that's the kind of the perspective that I want people to. And I was even the friend that I was talking to the other day. This guy's done well for himself. Retired from the military. So he gets a retirement check every month, and he's invested in different things. But he's investing in stocks and digital currency. And he recently just bought like a Amazon franchise, and he's going to buy a Walmart franchise, right? But it's like $25K to open up one of those franchises, and he doesn't have to do any work. He just has to, create, basically be a silent partner or investor or something to that effect. I don't even quite understand all of what he's doing, but like he's at a different level financially than even I am myself. But I'm like, I'm not there yet, right? Let me start with the six figures liquid. Let me start there. And then once I get there, then I'll be okay with making riskier investments, if you will, because I'm not worried about losing the money, right? Like it's not going to affect me being able to feed my family or keep a roof
Because
over
your
my head.
foundation would be solid. Your foundation would be solid. Once your foundation is solid, yeah, go for it.
You take the more risk, right?
Make it happen. And that's how some people can end up. Well, we've actually seen it. People get into trouble because they've owned X numbers of real estate and right, but they didn't have a solid foundation. So a market crash, right? A loss of a job, any type of thing like that can disrupt their entire house because they didn't have a solid foundation.
Sure.
So where you start is important, and you start with a plan, not the foundation. You actually start with a plan.
Right.
Once you have a plan, then you can build the foundation, and then on top of the foundation, you can build other things. You can really get the house built up very well financially, and that's any goal that you have, right? And I think the biggest key to where to start is when, and that's right away. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Most people are going to try to even though the first is on Friday. Am I right?
Friday, yeah.
Even the first is on Friday. It's going to be people who are going to wait till Monday. Nothing magical is going to. Everybody's waiting for 2020 to be over. Nothing magical happens on Friday.
Nope.
It starts in here.
That's what shifts.
Starts
right.
in here. Starts in here. I'll tell the group. So today was the day I'm supposed to go see my therapist. So I get spend time with him, and then he was the guy that we were talking about goals and stepping out on faith and doing things, right? So, and it was funny. He was reciting back these little sayings that I have, and so he actually quoted back the saying of, "For every adversity, there's a seed of benefit equal to or greater than the adversity, if you look for it." All right, and he loves to say at the end of that, "If you look for it," he says that's the key. If you look for it, and I agree, it is, but it's a mindset. You got to start there, right? And even though I'm talking about it, don't misconstrue the fact that I still messed this up. Right? There was adversities I went through in 2020 that I did not look for the benefit immediately. Right? I had to pause. I had to think. I had to take deep breaths. Right? I had to get out of my feelings, and then I was looking for the benefit, and I found them. So that's the difference. But you got to remind yourself to look for them. Right? So where to start is a big deal, but just getting started. Just start, like yesterday.
Absolutely. Well, a good place to start, if you haven't taken it already, is our free assessment survey
Yep.
at momentum-mentors.com.
Mm-hmm.
Just a good place to assess where you currently are. And with your permission, right, we can actually offer some guidance to help you move in a better directions, help you with a plan, as John mentioned, to get on a better track financially.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to wait till 2021, right? There's a couple days left in 20, right? A lot can happen in 2 days, right? So I actually have an appointment tomorrow morning with a gentleman that was referred to me from Wisconsin, right? So moving all across the country. But it's exciting to be able to connect and reach people from all over the country,
Yep.
people from different backgrounds and walks of life, but having that common connection, you
Right.
know, they seeing value in what it is that we have to share. And he's actually that particular gentleman. He shares a lot of our videos. He's tuned in, so if he's out there, shout out to you. You know who you are. Um, and I really appreciate just having the opportunity to be able to connect with people like that, like-minded individuals, people who see value, who want better, and trust us enough to help guide them. He was already doing some things well financially, and sometimes you just need that extra reassurance that, like, hey, you're not right. So sometimes we're harder on ourselves than we need to be. And I'm like, hey, you're doing all right. You're not doing too bad. You can we can help you tweak a little things, but you're not doing that bad at all. So I'm looking forward to, like I said, working with him, connecting with him, and also helping some others, serving a lot of other people. I'm working on, we talked about this, putting some things in place, systems in place, to be able to reach and connect and serve more people. And so that assessment is one way that we can do that. So if you know of anybody who's looking for some guidance financially, let them know that we got an assessment. It's completely
Mm-hmm.
confidential, so your information won't be shared with anyone outside of our team of associates. And we can reach out to you on a one-on-one basis and help you move forward with the plan, develop a strategy to get closer to where you want to be.
Absolutely.
Not just in 2021, but for the
Beyond.
rest of your life. Like I said, we help you with a solid plan, and that plan and that foundation helps you build for your future, right? Not just the immediate future, but long term. And I
Right.
think when it comes to building wealth, you got to think long term, and that's the strategy. We're not the get rich quick company, right? We don't sell that, right?
No.
We're definitely focused on longevity and also sustainability, right? Being able to sustain what it is that you're doing and helping you start where you are and grow, right? But it does require growth. It does require work, and we can coach you, but we definitely help you to learn how to play the game. And with the tools that we have access to, the books and resources, things like that, we teach you the rules of the money game. We show you how to play so that you can win. So,
Absolutely.
John, it has been fun, right? This is our last chat for 2020,
I know.
and we definitely have some great things coming up in the coming year. And so we hope you'll stick with us, stay tuned in. We'll definitely be having some events coming up that you can be a part of, so you can maybe get some more insight into what it is we do and how we do it. And
Yep.
with
And
with
hopefully we
John's
get a chance.
leadership,
Hopefully we get a
go ahead.
chance to meet some of these people that we've been talking to. Um,
Absolutely.
as the world continues to move. But yeah, I'm excited for 2021. Not just for myself, but for everyone that we get to help and the people we get to touch. I was telling one of my buddies that's our prayer this year, that we're gonna impact. We're gonna have an amazing year, and everybody who even comes in contact with us is gonna be blessed in the process. So
Absolutely. I definitely believe that. I know I have been. For those that don't know, John was an individual who I met 12 years ago. And from that introduction, it changed everything. It changed my mindset. It changed my focus. I was actually in another company when I met you.
hmm
And that company, a lot of companies out there promote, making more money and saving money, right? And that was a direct sales company, and we're offering telecommunication services, and a lot of great platforms out there. But what was missing, I know for me, was like, all right, I'm supposed to be saving money on my services, but yet I'm spending a lot more money, growing the business and those type of things. And when I got introduced to our firm, it was like like the pieces all the dots got connected. It was just like, all right, we actually are making money, and we're teaching the principles, right, about saving money, right? It's one thing to make more money, but if your habits when it comes to making money and spending it is the same, then you're just going to be making more money and spending more money. But what I learned here was that the more money you make, the more money you should save, or you have to decrease, right? Like I understood the principles about money, and so it didn't matter how much I made, because my mindset became, okay, a part of all I earn is mine to keep, right? Pay yourself first, right? Like those things became staples in my money mindset, to where it wasn't so much a focus on the money anymore. It was what I did with the money once I made it. And once I made that shift, like I stopped working for money. Like I don't feel like I work for money anymore. I work to learn. I work to gain insight or learn something. But it's not for the physical or the tangible asset, if you will. It's really about who I can become in acquiring that. And what our mentor says all the time, your income will only grow to the extent that you do. So if you're not growing personally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, right, financially, you're not going to grow. Like it's not going to happen. And even if you make more money, you'll just lose more money because your mindset hasn't changed when it comes to it. So if I can encourage you all to do anything moving forward, not just have a goal plan. I like this from John Maxwell. Have a growth plan, right? Have a plan for how you want to grow in the coming years. And that was key for me really this year. I had to grow a lot, right? Like the fact that I'm online talking to people, having this conversation, because my identity was that of an introvert. Like I just wanted to be behind the scenes. And so I realized that I couldn't be selfish, something that you say all the time. Like, if you have something of value that you can share it, offer other people, like it's selfish not to share it. And so we found a platform, a way for us to be able to share and impact and reach more people with this message. And I'm grateful for that guidance. And so, yeah, I invested in a lot of growth stuff, but I haven't been able to like implement most of it. So 2021, right? Like I paid for all of it in 2020. In 2021, I have to actually like implement all of the stuff that I invested in. So I'll be having a growth plan so that I go into, and act on a lot of those things that I had the opportunity to take advantage of over this past year. So
good.
Really excited to be working with you and where we're going as an organization and where you're going to be leading us. I definitely appreciate and value your leadership. And I look forward to, maybe some of the individuals who get to hear us from week to week, becoming a part of our organization potentially. If they qualify, if they, see an opportunity for themselves, if it's a good fit or something to that effect. But I definitely appreciate, yeah. So John, I've been rambling a little bit. Anything else you want to share before we hop off?
Nope. I just want to say Happy New Year to everyone, and let's go into this year on purpose with a purpose.
I like that. Great way to end it. We'll see you guys next year.
Next year, 2021.
Have a great Happy New Year, and we'll see y'all next time.
Happy New Year.